Sorry, good afternoon. Recorded. Sorry, yeah. Hi, everyone. Yeah, so I have spent about a good coming to 18 years now in the financial markets in different positions and roles. I started as a research analyst. I spent time in fund management. I started a new company in the finance space. Yeah, so that's a good 15 years of my life. And over the past about 3 to 4 years, I've been spending time on in a new season of transition to a new venture, where I'm in a startup focusing on building some plant-based food and dessert for the future. Yeah, so that's the snapshot.
Wonderful, great. So just some context for how we're going to run the webinar for today. Each webinar is 45 minutes, and this is the second of 3 webinars we're running today. There will be, this one is about the true cost of retirement, how we finance our 100-year life. And there'll be another one specifically for people who are looking at how they are going to make financial plans for a transition if they are in the middle of considering one. And that one will be the next one coming up at 4 o'clock. Because it's webinar style, you're welcome if you're still digesting your lunch to keep your videos off, but we invite you to participate actively in the polls, and that will help us to just get a very good sensing of who is in the room so that we can more accurately tailor whatever we are sharing according to the experiences and the propensities of people in the room. So please respond actively to the polls, and at any time you can also use the reaction button and the chat to just respond and have it be a conversation that goes on together with Kai as we go on. Okay, so with regard to that, perhaps what I can do now is launch the first poll.
Polling time.
All right, great. So that will just help us to get a sensing of how people are dealing with investments for the purpose of fueling the 100-year life now. So it's just a very quick sensing, just type in yes or no. And here is not a question of whether it is correct or is wrong, but it's just whether it is true for you. Is that the perspective that you're living with right now with regard to how you treat financial investments? Okay. All right, with that, let me share the results. Kai should be glad to look at the results that we have here, no?
I think it's interesting. Yeah. Can we get anybody to, I don't know, just type in a word or two to share a bit about why they think it's yes or no? Or is everyone in a post-lunch coma? If you're in a post-lunch coma, right, there's some magic mushroom I have in my background that you can have a couple of. Okay, nobody's responding, so.
Oh, okay. There you go.
Okay, awesome.
So Samantha says yes, but it doesn't mean she can't try learning, which I guess is what you are here to do today.
Okay, so I think just picking up from the session in the morning where when people think about finance, we see an overwhelming number of people putting like worry, fear, stress about starting off in finance, and I thought what we'll be covering in the next 40 minutes or so will be something that's okay. It's a little bit technical, but we try to keep it as light as we can in the journey of it, right? But I want to just take the chance to introduce a very simple, a little framework, because I think a lot of this stress and pain actually comes from in our experience with working with more than 10,000 clients and running about 300 million of their monies. There's a lot of this pain comes from a lack of decision. There's a lot of indecision happening, right? And a lot of the indecision happening for most people actually comes from a lot of times a lack of understanding of actually what are the rules, right? What we mentioned in the morning, what are the rules of this financial world, right? And it comes down actually to a little bit like I coin it the curry chicken framework, yeah, because actually a framework is kind of like just like a little recipe, yeah. Roy mentioned, is it really called curry chicken framework? Yeah, for today it's called a curry chicken framework. You can call it any other framework, but I think to just understand it a bit, it's like a little recipe, So I think when there's no starting point, people don't know where to start off with, then something could be quite overwhelming. But I think the truth of the matter is that, hey, if everybody can get just a little bit more well equipped and understand a bit better, with a little starting point of recipe. I may not make the best curry chicken in the world, but I would probably be able to make a decent curry chicken that is edible. Yeah. So that's just this little framework. Yeah. So in the investing world, understanding some of the rules. Anybody of you follow or are familiar with like Warren Buffett? Yes, no, can put a thumbs up or there's any reaction. Oh yeah, you can do reactions. Yeah. So if you know of Warren Buffett or if have read up or learn anything from them, I don't know, put a thumbs up or heart love. Yeah. Yes. Okay. Yeah. So anybody knows Warren Buffett's investing rule number one? Yeah. Investing rule number one. Anybody knows investing rule number one? No? Awesome, May. Never lose money. Okay. Warren Buffett has only got two rules in investing. Okay. So rule number one, May got it. Never lose money. What is rule number two? Oh, awesome. Okay. So we have Yo and May, right? So rule number two is never forget rule number one, right? So I think these are just some of these understanding of a game, understanding of these rules in this financial game. And actually successful investing is really about just having a little collection of these recipes that guides you in your decisions, right? That helps you make better choices in your financial life. And so, yes, I think the answer is that most of you said that, financial investing, right, should not be left to just the experts. And I think you are mostly right about that. Even some of you who said yes, then I suppose this would be a very interesting learning journey for you. Yeah. Okay. Are we good to go for poll number? Okay, sorry. Am I supposed to run through the curry chicken framework?
Okay. It's up to you.
I think, okay, we'll cover that because we're going to cover bits and parts of that over the next few polls. Okay, so why don't we just get around with the next poll?
Certainly. Okay, I'm going to launch the second poll. This question, people seem to be thinking a bit longer, but the answers are coming in.
Questions are going to get tougher, okay? Yeah, so be ready for it, yeah. We're scaffolding it, yeah.
All right, just waiting for one last person to make up their mind. Okay, there we go.
Okay, we get a 1/3, 2/3 mix. Any comments or thoughts from anyone from who said true or false? Just before I move on to share about the point.
Maybe someone who said true first.
Oh, sure. We're just going to give them 5 seconds. Hey. Okay, awesome. Sarah mentioned about different products having suiting different objective and there's no best product. Wonderful. I think there is really a lot of wisdom in group and community learning, Yeah. False, there's no WeChat mentioned about false, there's no best product, only suitable ones. So awesome. Yeah. Market changes all the time. From May said market changes all the time. So the best now will not be the best. Oh wow. Yeah. Are your financial advisors or people in the financial markets? But I like it that actually you are absolutely right that a lot of these are seemingly commonsensical. But I think when people make the decisions, they seldom apply what they already know to these decisions. Yeah. So I just want to share just a quick story, about the real case that I was involved in. When I first joined the profession in 2004, I was a research analyst, and I was brought in onto a pro bono case that we did for a family who just lost a breadwinner. The mom had 3 young kids, homemaker all her life, not highly educated. The kids were 3, 5, and 8, I think. Yeah, and the breadwinner walked out of life, left an insurance payout of $70,000. Okay, and so she came to us, and the first question that she asked us was, okay, what product should I buy with my $70,000? Okay, and I think it's also common space about, we had some questions in the morning when people ask about how much is too much risk, what return should I expect, what do I know, what is a good buy. Yeah, so I think just being able to switch the paradigm a little bit about that. What happened with this client that we took on the pro bono case was that upon conversations with her, uh, actually what was really important, right, was to define what is the objective that is most pressing for her to have to achieve, right? And of course, then what is achievable, right? I mean, you can have many different objectives because she would love to be able to fund all her three daughters to go to tertiary and education and everything. But we came down to defining the objective, right? As what we need to do is to be able to buy time, right, until the daughters are old enough to be able to enter society. Yeah, right. So what we structured was that we structured the investment plan uh, to be able to match the objective. But she was concerned about, hey, when I invest, then won't I be putting everything at risk, right? So basically, we broke down the portfolio. We invested 35K for her, right, with a certain objective. And I think luck was a good training factor at that point in time because that's in 2004, and from 2004 to 2007 we had a massive markets that rose in our favor, right? And what we managed to do is to prolong the time, right? So she was drawing down on 35,000 bucks that she kept as contingency fund, and 35,000 was invested. And in less than 5 years, that 35,000 that was invested, right, gave her another bundle of $70,000 to repeat the same cycle again. Yeah, yeah. So I cannot stress the importance of defining the objective first as part of your little recipe and framework. Like if you want to cook curry chicken, right, you won't buy beef, right? So, or there may be the best beef around, there may be the best other meat around, but if you're cooking curry chicken, you buy chicken, right? So I think in most clients that we see, we have three different examples. So we either do foundational work for them, or we do growth work for them, or we do preservation work for them. Yeah, just like how somebody who is already very well to do, say for example, I live by, I just need 2,000 bucks to live every month, right? I've got $10 million of assets, okay, right? You are somebody like that, and there's no other aspirations that you have to fulfill. You're probably quite well off actually, even just taking no risk, right, and leaving the money in POSB account because you can afford to stomach the inflation loss, and you have no risk, yeah. So there's no really one size fit all products. Yeah, I think defining objective is what is critical to be doing. Yeah. All right, shall we?
There is a comment on how we can better hone in on what our objectives are. Do you have any other comment on that?
I suppose, I don't think we will be able to go into that, but I think we are going to take a session at 4 p.m. focusing on what's the topic again? Can I quit my job now? Is it?
Can I afford to quit my job?
Okay, yeah. So I think in this session we'll just be running through some the little framework, and in the next session we'll actually be putting some examples of the real examples of how do I define the framework and what does it mean in financial sense, and how do we translate certain things, right? Yeah. So join us at 4 p.m. We can probably speak a bit more about that. Bring a piece of paper and pen if you want to be able to work on your own little framework later. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Fantastic. So the first point was around knowing my financial objectives. The second one is around making time my friends. So with that, I'm going to launch the next poll.
A degree in mathematics is a prerequisite for using this framework. True or false?
I thought Ruoyi, you did this quiz before on some website.
Really?
She forgot the answer already. I know she did it before. Okay, there are 7 more still trying to calculate using the calculator, I think.
We Google everything nowadays, right? You should get it in like 5 seconds,
Okay, just 3 more people who will make up their minds. It doesn't matter if you get it wrong. We don't know who you are, actually. All right, fantastic. This is quite a savvy group, Kai.
Really?
Check it out.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So most people got it right at 7.2 years, but there's also a good number who are saying that investments with a 10% return don't exist.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah, Kip Woon mentioned rule of 72, which is what we are probably going to be sharing about. Yeah. So I think I will just introduce a very simple term called compounding interest, okay, in investing, which according to Warren Buffett, right, is the best invention ever, right, in this past few centuries, okay. According to, I think our XMMD Econ is the best invention, but according to Warren Buffett, compounding interest is the best invention like ever, right? Yep. So rule 72 basically is just how do you apply it? 72 divided by the return on whatever investments you're getting will give you approximate number of years to double your money. Yeah. So 10%, that's 72 divided by 10, that's 7.2. Yeah. So I think it's interesting. When I was in uni, I actually love drinking bubble tea. Okay, I was drinking Koi bubble tea then. Koi had an appearance then. Then after that, they exited for the longest time, and today they are back again, right? Yeah. So at the point in time, Koi bubble tea, my favorite is the chocolate milk tea with pearl, right? That time chocolate milk tea is 220, with pearl at 30 cents, so it's 250. Okay. Today, for the same Koi chocolate milk tea with pearl, right? Right, we are paying something close to $4.90 or $5 for it. Yeah. So I guess depending on the location, also on the different concepts, they have specialized concept whatsoever, but ballpark, it's about $5, right? And that really is how inflation works in a compounding way. Okay, so in 2004, that was the when I last had Koi when I was in uni, 250, now $5, right? 15 years thereabout, the price of Koi bubble tea has doubled. Okay, so what is the rate of inflation of Koi? Everybody get to calculate now. No, just kidding. We're not calculating it. Okay, yeah. I think one of the key point I want to make in this is that, okay, compounding is going to be here whether you like it or not. Okay, so you got to make it work for you rather than against you. And what is the one lesson that I learned, right? Hey, if I love bubble tea, right, then actually how do I continue to enjoy spending and have an evergreen bubble tea fix, right? Actually, it's actually about just rethinking my paradigm of every time I buy bubble tea, right, I also start to allocate some monies towards buying stocks in a bubble tea company, right? Very similar to buying branded goods or products if you have a fix for it. I mean, like if like a LV, right? So you buy LV, why not? We shouldn't just be. I think the whole deprivation model that a lot of people exemplify by, you just save a lot, you just consume later so that you can have more later. I'm not sure about how good or bad that is. Right? I think end of the day, I think it's more important to have a joyful life. Right? So it's about allocation, right? And every dollar if I allocate towards consumerism, and I can be able to think of allocating some of it towards these companies that's going to benefit from the compounding inflation, right? Then I'm going to be able to be much better off, right? In 10 years time, hey, I own some of the shares of a bubble tea company or LV that will be actually be giving me some good returns to fuel my purchase of the LV or the bubble tea. Yeah. So that's actually how compounding interest can work in your favor. Yeah.
Clarice is going to start buying stocks in coffee.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, like, yeah, but buy the right ones, because a lot will come and go, okay? But it's allocating and it's about thinking about it in that manner, You want to fuel something that you think you want to continue to consume, then fuel an equal, if not more amounts into just the companies that are going to benefit from this compounding inflation in the world. Yeah. Okay, shall we continue? Anybody have any questions? How many are following?
There's a raised hand. Sarah, do you want to take that question?
Yeah, sorry. Can I ask you, how did you invest money in Koi? Like, how do you go about just buying stocks in Koi?
So I did not buy stocks in Koi. It's just an example that I am giving. Hey, if you were to be funneling money into consuming, right, then we should look at, hey, are consumer companies, right, worth investing into, and how should I funnel some of my money into these consumer companies, Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I thought you just went to buy money in koi. Okay.
I mean, I suppose in today's context, if you want to be your own business owner, you could get a koi franchise, I suppose. But more in the context of just thinking about allocating our funds. We don't have to deprive. I think we just need to reallocate and find a good allocation around that works. Yeah.
And how do we know how much to allocate?
That is a very technical question that we could take a little bit of that maybe in the next session. Yeah, but I think for the purpose of this 45 minutes, we will just
Okay.
main frames. Yeah.
Right, great. Which brings us to the next part of the framework. And it's one about labor versus capital. So just choose which of these statements is true for you right now. Okay, this one, the answers are coming in fast and furious.
Bro.
Or there's one person so
What is
far.
your expectation around the polling result?
Okay, it's quite interesting. There are a couple people undecided. Maybe both are not working. Or both are working very hard. Should have given those options.
Just responding to a question from Yo, right? He said that inflation should be low. Okay, I don't know what's the context that you'll be mentioning that, but I think there's two contexts of it. Like one is, I think overall inflation in Singapore actually is pretty controlled over a period of time. You probably see something like 2 to 3% at the core inflation. But I think what we need to be aware of also is the what we call a lifestyle inflation, right? And I think a lot of times that's something that say we as individuals may be able to I would say, prevent ourselves from being succumbed to this lifestyle inflation, right? But I think under certain peer pressures and even under like a lot of questions that we ask parents with young families is, hey, could you can be able to overcome that lifestyle inflation, but can you deprive your kid of that McDonald's meal that every other child or classmates that he has is having? It's going to be very difficult. So I think facing a certain reality and truth about the world that we live in is also important. And I think the way to not stress over that actually is just to be able to do a good allocation around what we are putting aside for today and what we are putting aside for tomorrow that can fund the lifestyle that we want. Yeah. Do we have the poll result?
Yes, we do.
Yeah.
So you have most people working harder than their money, but there are 3 who have their money working harder than them, which would be very interesting to hear.
Okay, so yeah, are there anyone who wants to share about that?
Are you inviting the ones?
The ones who say that the money working harder, right? Is that what you mentioned? Yeah.
Yeah, there are 3.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, if anybody is going to comment, I just bring out a point on that. When I first joined this in the finance industry in 2004, I remember a very old senior was telling me, that hey, how many legs does a human have, right? I said 2 lah, right? Then he asked me, how many legs does money have? Okay, money got 4 legs, okay, and 2 wings. Okay, so a human can never outrun, right, money, right? So you're sharing with me in the context of that, hey, we cannot run away from that. In today's world, money is going to grow faster, okay, than the human can make it most of the time. Most of the time, not all the time, but most of the time, right? And I think, no, we have, okay, so that's fine. No response from that. But I think the concept of that, our total wealth in our lifetime actually is made out of 2 components, okay? One is actually labored wealth, okay? And secondly, right, is invested wealth. Yeah, so the formula is what? TW equals to, okay, LW plus IW, yeah. Okay, so what is the core thing here? So a lot of people, we see a lot of people coming to us and understanding, hey, I think we are investors, but we are not magicians, okay, right? Nobody will be able to turn, I don't know, $1 into $1 million, right? Even whatever time horizon that they have, right? And a large part of understanding that if labeled wealth, if we are first generation wealth builder, right? Labeled wealth is going to be a huge, big component of the wealth that we need to be able to spend our resources and energy on, right? I share an example of this Olympics, right? So in 2016 Olympics, who was the champion in swimming, butterfly swimming? Anybody have any idea? 2016 Olympics Games, right? Swimming butterfly. Who was the champion? Yep, Samantha. Thank you, Samantha. Yep, schooling was the champion, right? First ever gold medal, right? And do you know what is the margin of his win over his? You know who second, third, and fourth? Anybody knows who second, third, and fourth? I think if you're a sports fan, you maybe you you know that Phelps came in second, joined second. There's three of them. And what is the margin of the win? So schooling came in at 50.39 seconds. Okay, Phelps Chad and I think Laszlo came in at 51.14. Okay, so the gap was less than 1 second, 0.75 second. Okay, now I want to introduce to you to, have you all heard of the Pareto principle before? Pareto? How about the 80-20 rule? Yes, loosely, 80-20 rule. Yeah. Okay, so the history of, okay, I'm a little bit of history buff, right? So the history of this Pareto, this 80-20 rule comes from Pareto principle, which came from this guy who's an economist, is called, he's an Italian, Wilfredo Pareto, right? And so he was doing a study of this new economy in the world, right? And that the truth of a lot of these wins, okay, right? 80-20 rule basically means to say just that, you know, hey, 80%, right? 20% of the people are going to be able to gain 80% of the wealth, resources, etc. You know, right? So that's typically and usually true in most situations, right? And back to just schooling's example, right? So actually the margin of victory, right, for in today's game, in today's world of finance, okay, right, there's this effect called the, in any capitalistic world, okay, there's this effect called the winner takes all effect. Okay, right? So actually schooling won by less than 1% of the margin, right? But he reaped 100%, okay, of the rewards, right? And what is interesting is that thereafter, okay, if you follow any of these sports games, okay, right, the champion is what people remember. Nobody remembers number 2, 3, 4, right? And therefore, when you become the champion, what happens is that the sponsorship, the opportunities, the facilities, right, everything suddenly gets poured towards you to empower you, okay, to train better, to build up your expertise, to build up your endurance, right, so that you have a better chance, okay, of even pulling the gap further, okay, in the next Olympics or in the next games. Okay, so I call this, so actually this is, if you were to just break it all down, right, mastery actually is really about the power, okay, of the slight edge, right? The 1% edge that you start building today, right, can grow to become an insurmountable edge, okay, over a period of time, right? And if labeled wealth is your key wealth generator, right, in your generation, right, then you should be channeling most, if not all, of your resources, right, towards mastery in whatever edge that you can have, right, and keep on building and growing that edge, right, over the years, because over time that edge will become more and more pronounced, right, and you're going to get a lot more well rewarded, okay, for this edge and mastery that you have built. Yeah.
Maybe I just want to add something here about how I think this formula really nicely ties up our conference for yesterday and today. Because yesterday we basically talked about careers, right? And I think a lot of the conversations was also about finding a career in which we think we can thrive. And I think that is sort of like that part about how we continue to build up our labeled wealth. And I connect with the idea around mastery because I think I can only motivate myself to put in that extra work to become a master in a particular field if I am connected to it. So that's why yesterday we kind of talked about things like, values, what motivates us to do the work that we do, and how we build up our skills in the particular field that we have chosen. So it seems to me like day one was a lot about labeled wealth, how we increase our chances of continuing to build labeled wealth, particularly in areas that we connect with, and we'll put in enough effort so that we can become and pull ahead in becoming masters in that field. And then today we're having conversations around then with that other part, then the capital that we generate, then how we grow also the invested wealth part. Yeah.
I mean, I'll just probably add a point in this juncture to say that I think there's also no need for fixation around having a certain quantum of total wealth, right? I think we should enjoy the journey given this 100-year life context, right? That I think the journey is as important as the eventual result itself. Of course, we would love to have more wealth so that we can let investor wealth work for us, you know. Right? But I think the journey of getting there is as important as the outcome. Yeah. So, yeah. Are we good to continue? Is this a
Yeah. Well, we have a fifth and last poll, which I will launch right now. This one should be the easiest of all.
okay, this one, if you are going to click on depends, right, then you will have to type why, okay, right? I want to see your reason why. It's really important, okay?
Okay, just a couple more people and then I'll close the poll. So far, I'm pleased to report that nobody has chosen option B.
Nobody has chosen option B?
Yeah.
Really? Okay, can all those who have chosen option 1 do me a favor, right? Can you please let me know where are you buying this curry chicken A that costs $2 per bowl in Singapore? Send me the address of the place. Or are you making it and selling it for $2? Yeah. Sorry, we put in a couple of trick questions, you know, along with the other questions. Yeah. But I'm more interested about those who put depends. Okay, can you just very quickly, I don't know, just in one sentence or 3 words, you know, be able to share a bit why about this depends?
Yeah. Maybe share a bit about depends on what.
Yeah, depends on what. Yeah. Oh wow. Okay. Oh, quality, brand positioning, value. What I stand for? Curry chicken, Clarice. Samantha. Oh, okay. Yeah. Oh, it's important when you Instagram it. Okay. So Samantha choose the $8 one. Okay. With some other factors of high regard, presentation, etc. Really depends on the taste. No waste space on bad calories. Okay. Same portion. Keep on ask about portion. Same portion. Yeah. Okay. Juliana said it depends on what's so special about the curry chicken and if what I'm getting out of it is worth $8. Yeah. So occasion, or did you say depends on occasion if someone is cheating? Okay. Awesome. Okay. I just want to raise out a point that I think most of you has got a interesting thought about it. Maybe just to quantify and qualify in the financial context of it. I think a lot of times people understand the concept of that. Do not be penny wise and pound foolish, right? I want to bring the financial aspect context here. Okay. Price is defined as what we pay. Okay, right? While value, okay, is defined as what we get, right? So I think price always only have a meaningful context, right? When we understand what we are getting, right? So it's no different from curry chicken. It's no different from any financial instruments, products, investing journey, right? We shouldn't be just focused on looking at just one factor without understanding the other. Yeah. My experience, my real experience with in financial markets is that when you pay a lot, say if I buy $8 curry chicken, right? When you pay a lot, does it guarantee that it's going to be great? How many of you think that when you pay a lot, it's guaranteed great? No guarantee. Yeah. So in my real experience, when it's costly, you pay a lot, it doesn't mean it's going to be great. Okay. But I can share with you one experience that I have, which is that if you choose to be penny wise, okay, you pay very little, you pay peanuts, okay, I guarantee you that you're going to get monkeys. That's a certainty. Okay. Right. Why? Very simple. Okay. Suppose today, okay, in whatever profession that you are in, okay, you spend your time, energy, you spend money, you spend a lifetime building an expertise, right? Do you expect, okay, your salary or your income to be rising or dropping? Right? Rising or dropping? Put a word down in the chat group if If you have a thought on that, yeah. Rising. Yeah. Okay. So Juliana, Rishan. Yeah. So I think the fundamental truth is that the reality is that, hey, if we want to be able to continue to be paid better and better, right, for the expertise and for the mastery, for the time and energy that we spend in developing ourselves, right, then why do we expect to get something that's cheaper and cheaper and cheaper, but get higher and higher and higher value? Okay, it's anti-logic, right? So I think in the financial markets and the financial world is the same. So be very wary of just things that comes with super low cost, and that's why you should do it. It's not all bad, but you are likely going to get monkeys, when you pay peanuts. Okay, so don't be just fooled by low cost things. Okay, because value is what you should benchmark it against. Right? And so be realistic, I think, and be realistic and be very willing to pay for value, right? The other point that I want to raise up actually is about this measurability. This measurability. So theoretically, we have seen a lot of financial reforms happening from government led. Okay, about hey, if people don't have enough to retire on, you can now lease back your HDB. You can downgrade your life. You can make a lot of these adjustment and changes. Okay, but in reality, I think what I want to just raise up is that let's all just be true to ourselves. Okay, right? um, if I'm really very very used to having a transport, having a car, and be able to drive my family around, right? How easy or difficult it is for me to really give that up? Okay, how easy it is for me to be able to downgrade from, I don't know, from my condo, okay, to a 3-room HDB flat, okay, when I need to unlock the money, sort of. Okay, yeah. If your answer is yes, awesome. Right? If your answer is no, right, then hey, then is that really a logical plan to have? Yeah. So I think every plan needs the right matchability. So I think we should figure out a plan that really matches and suits what is important for you, right? Rather than just, I can always do that later. But will you really do it or not? I think that's really important to be honest with ourselves. Right? Yeah. And being able to the other matchability around this financial investing, right, is that we pay a price, we understand what is the value we're going to get, but let us also understand, okay, what is the characteristics, right, of this value or of this product, right? If I'm somebody, that, hey, if let's say I invest $100,000, right, and markets can be quite volatile, right? And if markets drop by just say 5%, okay, that's $5,000 of loss, okay, and I cannot sleep with knowing that I'm losing $5,000, okay, right? Then you are probably not suitable to be investing in this particular product. Okay, no matter how good the logical sound is, that hey, things they go up, they'll come back again, right? In time you recover, you just need to have holding power. So I think all these are just rational facts, okay, that is important to know, okay, but it's even more important for you to understand what exactly is your own propensity towards different instruments, okay, and find those, okay, that work well for you. Because back to the earlier point, that your focus should be on building your mastery, right, where you can be able to generate and build wealth in your life. Yeah. So don't introduce unnecessary headaches, okay, that you probably do not need. Yeah.
Maybe just a quick comment that on our career framework, we also very often talk about the self versus the us. So starting with self, like a recognition of who we are, what we want, what our strengths are, and having a self-awareness around that before using that base and foundation to go and like encounter what is the reality in the world. And it sounds to me quite similar like in that sense. So in terms of matchability, it's also about recognizing and knowing ourselves before we take that and then go and find out then how we match that with the reality of the world. So I think a good plan kind of takes into account both things. Yeah. Right. With that, we have no more poll, but I want to bring up the last fifth point that was in the Curry Chicken framework.
Yep. Okay. So once we have sorted out the first 4 key points, right, then the 5th point is that we cannot ignore that we live in this world, okay, and there is of course economic situations that's happening on an ongoing basis, right? But the point I want to raise up in this is that, you see, out of this, and this is the framework. This Curry Chicken framework is something that we have been using for tens of thousands of customers and clients who are able to derive value from it. Is that 4 out of the 5 key factors actually are the controllables, right? And we should focus on controlling the controllables, because the biggest risk, okay, that we are facing, okay, actually is ourselves, right? Once we understand that, once we can map what are the internal factors that affects us, right, then mapping it against the economic situation will make sense, right? If you don't do the first four and we just try to map, oh, hey, today markets are cheap, should I just buy or sell? So in itself, the map against the economic situation has got no meaning, right? But if you have a framework that takes into account, right, a lot of the controllables that you have, right, then you actually manage risk much better. We spoke about risk in the earlier seminar in the morning. Yeah. So the one risk that we can manage the best is ourselves, right? Of course, if we are not in control, then find somebody who can control us, and be in control, right? But that is one of the surefire ways to be able to build a successful financial investing plan, right? Or to be able to cook a very decent curry chicken, I suppose. Yeah. But I would really love to be able to hear from those who put $2 curry chicken, because I want to know where I can buy a good curry chicken for $2.
All right, great. Thanks, Kai. I also just want to add that this is very timely, given that, of course, due to COVID, we are looking at actually potentially a very difficult and prolonged recession period coming up. And so the economic situation is not going to look very good. And I think that is causing a lot of fear and anxiety in a lot of people. But I think this at least gives me comfort that at least there are 4 out of the 5 things that we should be looking at that we can control, as opposed to just focus on the one thing out of the 5 here that is out of our control. Okay, so with that, we have just 2 more minutes. And what I would like you to help us with is if you can just scan this QR code and take a minute to give us your feedback on this webinar that you've just gone through. You can hang around at our microsite, of which the URL is here. And there we have resources that follow on from what we have shared today that you can poke around and explore a little bit more into. And importantly, we will have follow-ups in terms of the conversations that we have started with many of you here in this conference. And follow us on our socials so that you can find what is going to come next. And what I would like to share next is actually the immediate follow-up that will come from, that will follow on from here, which is that a lot of these have been actually generalized and in concept. If you would like a more specific time to work through what that means applied to your own life and your own circumstances, then we have clinics, which are small groups that will come together to go through these issues with the guidance of Kai. Yeah, all right. So with that, I bring us to a close of this webinar that is on financing a 100-year life, the true cost of retirement. And I invite those of you who can to please join us back here at 4 o'clock, because we are going to run through pretty much the same framework, but this time with more of a focus on really using that for how you apply that in terms of planning a career transition, where you can find in these 5 steps the room and option for you to maneuver. Yeah.
Sorry, because can I just ask a quick question?
Please go for it.
So I'm just mapping it back to the description where this seminar was titled "The True Cost of Retirement," right? So can I just end off with a question about really in over 65 years of our life, how much do we really need to? How much invested wealth do we need to accumulate from our labored wealth, right, in order to finance the next 35 years if we were to live 100 years? Just I think the principles were very helpful, but to have that practical numbers to look at would also be very helpful. So that's why I'm asking this question.
So just very quickly, right? Hey, I think the factors that is just amazingly different, because how many Grab do you take a week? How many bubble tea do you have? And how many more bubble tea you're going to have? And do you have a passion? Do you have a fix towards LV and Prada and Aston Martin or fast cars and condos and landed properties? And yeah, so I think the context of that is that we can probably be able to map up a fair bit of things, given you can have many different objectives and you can map it concurrently across a few different maps using this framework, right? And probably that will help start to make some sense, right? I don't think we can map everything, given the change that's happening in this world today. We no longer do a 30-year plan, or 3 years is probably quite a decent time frame to look at some meaningful steps. Of course, the longer we can be able to see further, then it's easier. But I think is there a general, do I need $1 million to be able to be comfortable? Do I need 2/3 of my income, 1/3 of my income? I think the challenge with a lot of this generalization is that it is generalized generalize. Okay, that is the bigger challenge, right? Of course, we cannot do nothing also. So I mean, if you go to CPF website, they will give you an idea of, hey, if this is my lifestyle, this I'm spending, I don't know, $3,000 a month, then how much will I need as capital fund to be able to do so? But I think
okay.
where and what we are trying to get to is that I feel that what is really more effective is that, hey, we define what are some of the key objectives that that's really important to us, right? And then we adjust as we go along, right? And that's the real way of investing and of doing any planning. Yeah.
Okay, thank you, Kai. So there's some kind of calculator on the CPF website for us to calculate.
Okay, I haven't been there for like forever. I'm not sponsored by CPF nor a spokesman on CPF, but yeah, they're kind of decently useful, generalized resource. Okay, that I think
got it. Okay, thank you.
About, yeah.
Thank you.
But I guess essentially the point is what going back to step 1 of the recipe that you have, which is knowing your financial objectives. All right, great. So let's break off for now. I'm going to just conclude this webinar that we have. We're going to be back here at 4 o'clock for the next segment. So if you would like to go through this framework in the context of a potential job switch, then we see you back here. And please invite others that you know as well who might be looking at how to finance a job switch.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. See you.